Have you ever baked a cake for someone's birthday, only to have a sibling swoop in, slap their name on it, and act like they made it? That's the kind of energy I'm picking up right now between Meghan Markle and Prince William. The buzz swirling around town is that Meghan may have planted herself right in the middle of Princess Diana's legacy, and William isn't standing quietly in the corner.
No, the world's biggest victims right now are the Duke and Duchess of Netflix, and don't take my word for it.
This promise of once you're married, how hard I tried, no matter how good I was, no matter what I did, they were still going to find a way.
This woman is a born manipulator. The Netflix thing, she doesn't do the work. She don't make the jams. It's all made for her.
This isn't just a family tiff. It's about who owns the story of one of the most beloved figures in modern history. Industry whispers are circling like wildfire. Meghan and Harry are said to be eyeing a brand new documentary deal with Netflix. And the subject at the heart of it is none other than Princess Diana. The timing of this rumor is not coincidental. 2027 will mark 30 years since Diana's tragic passing, and that anniversary is shaping up to be one of the biggest global media events of the decade.
Yeah. Oh, it's so great. It's so authentic, isn't it?
Meghan Markle, she may have stepped down from royal duties more than 5 years ago, but she keeps taking aim at the monarchy. The Duchess of Sussex has made reportedly at least half a dozen swipes at the royal family this year, and it's only June.
As ever, her new company, the very first thing she said was, look, when I had the TIG, which was her previous lifestyle website, I loved cooking and I loved gardening and being a hostess, and she basically said I had to keep my light under a bushel at this time because of the royal family. Then we get her show, her Netflix show.
Everybody says she's a bully, she's very nasty. Not only is she incredibly controlling, but she's a about.
The entertainment world thrives on anniversaries because they're ready-made hooks that audiences respond to. Producers know viewers are more likely to tune in when there's a milestone attached. Meghan, with her production ties and Hollywood instincts, reportedly understands this better than most. To her, securing Diana's story at this moment could be both a ratings guarantee and a cultural power move. People in streaming circles hint that Netflix sees Diana as the kind of figure who guarantees global interest. Any project linked to her legacy is a surefire conversation starter, especially in a competitive streaming era where platforms are fighting tooth and nail for subscribers.
Well, good evening from London. Welcome to Piers Morgan Uncensored. Today, Harry and Meghan torched what little was left of their relationship with the royal family and what little was left, frankly, of their own reputations. Last week was mostly sickish old revelations with a new twist. As it turns out, we've apparently been wrong all along. Britain is a nasty, racist hellhole where only magnificent Meghan stood up to all this. And
what matters is what we have on the inside.
If Meghan has truly stepped in to pitch such a project, she's playing the long game, tying her name to one of the most enduring icons in modern history. And here's where the tension begins. While Meghan might see this as smart strategy, William reportedly views it as hijacking something sacred. The closer the anniversary looms, the louder the whispers grow that this Netflix spark could ignite a firestorm between the palace and the Sussexes. People close to the palace paint William as a man who guards his mother's memory with unshakable intensity.
So much fun.
You and I are so similar. You and I...
With your guests, when was the last time you were surprised and delighted?
Last night, and also this morning, but last night when I went back to my hotel, and then you'd put your thumbprint in, which is what makes it a fun group activity, and you could fill it with jam, you could do chocolate, anything you like, of course.
Harry Sussex? I have no idea, and no, Meghan, no one knew that. Like, why are you correct?
I'm going to show you how to make a happy, warm, loving home after I have successfully severed my husband's ties from his entire family.
Ever since he was old enough to speak publicly, he has positioned himself as Diana's protector in spirit. From overseeing her statue unveiling to shutting down tabloid exploitation, William has made it clear, if it involves Diana, it should pass through him. Now, with Meghan allegedly steering a documentary without his involvement, sources suggest William feels cornered. Imagine spending decades defending your mother's legacy from opportunists, only to see your own sister-in-law step into that space with a Hollywood production contract in hand.
Once they did, I remember being told there was a huge headline like, "We found him," or "We've got him." You're talking about someone's father. And from that point, the tabloids, they moved into the apartment next door and across from him.
Did it feel like betrayal when you found out your father was working with the tabloids?
I'm just trying to decide if I'm comfortable even talking about that.
To William, it must feel like losing control of a story he believes belongs to his family, and especially to him as Diana's eldest son. Hollywood chatter claims William is already anticipating that Meghan's touch on the project would create a narrative tilt. Meghan's public life has been framed around independence, self-reinvention, and pushing against tradition. Insiders fear she might filter Diana through that same lens, painting her as a rebel against the crown in ways that directly clash with William's more restrained portrayal. For William, it isn't just about protecting history, it's about making sure his children grow up with a version of their grandmother's story that reflects stability, dignity, and grace.
The whole Meghan Markle situation has been getting out of control, not just over at Netflix, but also at other studios ever since she posted that viral video, that pregnancy video, that really backfired not just on whatever was left of her image, or even, of course, what she actually likes to pretend herself as some form of an actress, as some kind of a personality, whatever it may be.
Oh my gosh, I work so hard.
She talks like she's a one-woman band. That is not hard work. Hard work is get up in the morning, get to 7 o'clock, get into a factory or a shop and working for 10 hours on your feet, coming home knackered. That's not what happens to her.
And still being a mom.
That is
still
not
being
what
a
happens
mom.
to
At the end of every episode, it says, like, the starring, Meghan, Duchess of Sussex.
Yes.
That's how mornings are as I get the kids off to school. You're making fruit parfait crudité boards? Like,
oh my God.
whom?
Did you see my baby mama dance? I mean, stop it. First of all, can I just tell you the timing of that? The timing of that. We maybe watched it like 20 times yesterday, and I was like, is that her?
Oh my God.
Is that Prince Harry there with the fingers and the? I was like, okay, yeah, okay.
But also, by the way, that wasn't yesterday.
No,
that was 4 years ago. So it's also a really great reminder that with all the noise or whatever people do, there's still a whole life, a real, authentic, fun life that's happening behind the scenes. I'm just grateful that now, being back on social as well, I have a place where I can share it on my own terms.
The idea that Meghan could influence that story without his oversight, that insiders say is enough to put a permanent glare across his face. Hollywood chatter has been buzzing that Meghan sees Diana's story as the crown jewel Archewell Productions desperately needs. Think about it. Her Spotify podcast was cut short. Her lifestyle brand has only just started finding footing, and most of Archewell's projects have yet to make a massive cultural dent. What better way to reset the board than by attaching her name to Diana, a figure who still commands universal fascination? For Meghan, a Diana documentary is more than content, it's a vehicle for credibility. Streaming wars are brutal, and Meghan needs Archewell to stand out in a crowded Hollywood market. A prestige project tied to Diana could elevate her company from niche experiments into serious award season contender territory. It's the kind of move that signals permanence, not passing interest. But here's the catch, William doesn't see that business logic. To him, it's personal. He reportedly views this as Meghan monetizing his mother's memory, a golden ticket that isn't hers to cash. The optics sting even more when you realize Archewell's Netflix deal is their lifeline. By weaving Diana into that contract, Meghan ensures Archewell stays relevant and Netflix keeps writing checks. To William, that must feel like watching a priceless family heirloom being sold at auction. What Meghan might view as a smart playbook, William interprets as exploitation, and that's where the emotional collision begins. One side sees business opportunity, the other sees betrayal. The talk in town is that Harry once made a heartfelt promise. His mother's legacy would be handled with the utmost care. Friends of the princes recall moments where Harry admitted that Diana's memory was the glue holding him and William together, even through the darkest family feuds. But now, whispers say that bond has snapped. Insiders sympathetic to Harry admit William feels stabbed in the back. It isn't just Meghan stepping into Diana's spotlight, it's Harry allowing it to happen. For William, that stings more than anything Meghan could do alone. It's his own brother, his own blood, who seems to be enabling the shift. Hollywood insiders claim William expected Harry to draw the line when it came to Diana. After all, they were the two boys walking behind her coffin in front of the world. To William, Diana's story belongs to them, not to a corporate boardroom in Los Angeles. But Harry's silence, his refusal to publicly deny Meghan's involvement, has been interpreted by many as silent approval. That silence has widened the rift. To some, it looks like Harry chose his wife's ambitions over his brother's boundaries. And in a royal bubble, where loyalty and image are everything, that's a wound that could take decades to heal. Scrolling through feeds feels like stepping into two completely different universes. On one side, royal loyalists are circling the wagons around William, blasting Meghan with accusations of meddling and opportunism. The language they use is sharp. Words like overstep, hijack, betrayal echo through the comment sections like battle cries. To them, William isn't just a son defending his mother. He's the rightful heir safeguarding the only version of Diana's story that should matter. But then you flip to the Sussex supporters, and the energy couldn't be more different. They frame Meghan as the breath of fresh air who can finally peel back palace polish and reveal the real Diana. For them, a project handled by Meghan isn't exploitation, it's liberation. They argue Diana herself pushed against royal confines, so Meghan picking up that torch is poetic justice. These two fandoms collide daily in digital spaces, and the arguments spiral fast. Hashtags trend, memes circulate, and suddenly a documentary that doesn't even officially exist yet has already divided millions. What I see is that this feud isn't just about a film, it's become a proxy war for how people view the monarchy itself. William versus Meghan isn't just a family clash, it's an identity clash between tradition and disruption. And every comment, every retweet just widens the gap. Behind all the emotions lies one undeniable factor: money. Reports swirling through the streaming industry hint that Netflix views Diana as a ratings juggernaut, a once-in-a-generation story that guarantees eyeballs. Executives know Diana's name alone can carry a project across the globe. If Meghan brings it to them, they'll throw their weight and their checkbook behind it without hesitation. For Meghan, attaching Diana's name to RQL is a strategic masterstroke. Diana isn't just a mother-in-law figure, she's a global brand in her own right. Tie that brand to RQL, and suddenly Meghan has a timeless connection, one that keeps her production company culturally relevant even as trends shift. For an entrepreneur trying to cement her Hollywood identity, that's priceless. But for William, the entire thing reeks of transaction. He looks at this potential deal and doesn't see art, he sees commerce. From his vantage point, it feels like someone bartering a family memory in exchange for a corporate payout. The pain deepens when you realize this isn't just any mother. This is Diana, a woman whose image has been used, sold, and monetized ever since her death. To William, the idea of his own brother's wife extending that cycle might feel like the ultimate insult. Money fuels Hollywood, but legacy fuels William. And when those collide, sparks fly. Word behind the scenes is that William has one core belief: Diana's story should be told only by those who truly knew her. In his mind, that circle is small. Her sons, perhaps a few trusted friends, but not someone who married into the family decades after Diana's passing. To William, Meghan stepping in feels like rewriting history with a pen that was never hers to hold. That belief, insiders say, has fueled more than just silent resentment. There are whispers of private conversations where William drew hard lines, pushing back against the idea of Meghan or RQL having any say in his mother's narrative. Some claim he's blunt about it, reminding Harry and Meghan that Diana's legacy is not a Hollywood script to be re-edited for branding purposes. Control has always been a theme in the royal family: what's released, what's hidden, what's remembered. William inherited that instinct, but in his case, it's not just duty, it's personal. He sees himself as the custodian of his mother's story, and if someone else takes that role, it threatens the image he spent decades building. To him, it's not paranoia, it's protection. And Meghan crossing that line could be the red flag that sparks his fiercest confrontation yet. Every anniversary of Diana's passing brings reflection, but the 30-year mark in 2027 looms like a tidal wave. Media companies around the globe are already strategizing tributes, retrospectives, and special programs. Every producer wants a slice of the timeline because they know audiences will tune in. It's not just remembrance, it's business. Meghan, with her Netflix ties, seems positioned to strike first. RQL already has a direct line into the streaming giant's pipeline, and the company is hungry for the kind of emotional, high-profile content Diana provides. Meghan understands the clock is ticking. Secure Diana's story now, and RQL becomes the brand attached to the most-watched anniversary special of the decade. But William, he's not sitting idle. Rumors in royal circles suggest he's already planning his own commemorations, palace-approved tributes, family-driven initiatives, and carefully curated documentaries that keep Diana's story under royal guidance. His strategy is simple: make sure Meghan's lens doesn't become the dominant one. This looming anniversary isn't just a milestone, it's a deadline. The closer we get to 2027, the higher the stakes and the more likely it becomes that William and Meghan clash in public, not just behind closed doors. For both, it's not about the date, it's about who controls the spotlight when that date arrives. Insiders familiar with royal protocol hint that the palace has already started moving quietly behind the scenes to tighten its grip on everything related to Diana. The archives, photos, video footage, even old family statements are being combed through and reclassified. This isn't just routine housekeeping. It looks like a strategic move to make sure no outside hands, especially Meghan's, can access the material without approval. Think about it, the palace has always understood the power of image. Diana's likeness isn't just a memory, it's intellectual property. Whoever controls those archives controls the narrative. By locking down access, the firm is essentially putting up walls around Diana's story, daring anyone to try and break through. Whispers in royal circles suggest that these steps aren't being taken randomly. They're a direct response to Meghan's rumored involvement with Netflix. The institution knows that once a project gains traction in Hollywood, it's almost impossible to claw back control. So the palace's preemptive strategy is simple. Guard the vaults, limit permissions, and keep Meghan on the outside looking in. To the public, this will look like silence. But in private, it's the royal machine revving up, preparing for battle. Harry's role in all of this is fascinating because he hasn't said a word. And in the world of royal gossip, silence doesn't soften the noise, it amplifies it. Every day Harry stays quiet, the speculation grows louder that Meghan is leading this charge alone. Fans who once defended Harry as the son most in tune with Diana now question where he stands. Is he complicit, giving Meghan the green light behind closed doors? Or is he quietly uncomfortable, trapped between his wife's ambitions and his brother's fury? Nobody knows for sure, and that mystery is feeding the frenzy. Insiders whisper that Harry's silence could be tactical. Maybe he's staying quiet to avoid deepening the rift with William. Maybe he's avoiding commentary because he knows whatever he says will be weaponized. But the risk is clear. By saying nothing, he leaves the impression that Meghan is the one steering the ship, and that narrative makes William's glare even sharper. The longer Harry waits to break his silence, the more this drama paints him as absent from the fight for his mother's story. And that absence speaks volumes. Hollywood insiders suggest Meghan isn't just thinking about Diana here, she's thinking about herself. Attaching her name to Diana's story doesn't just honor her late mother-in-law, it elevates Meghan into a new tier of influence. It signals she's not just a former actress dabbling in media projects, but a cultural storyteller with the power to shape history. Diana is more than a person, she's a global symbol. Aligning with that symbol offers Meghan a kind of credibility that no lifestyle brand or podcast ever could. It gives her sympathy from Diana loyalists, prestige among industry gatekeepers, and longevity in an industry where relevancy is fleeting. If Meghan secures this project, she instantly transforms RQL Productions into a player Hollywood has to take seriously. That's why insiders describe it not as a documentary, but as a branding strategy. For Meghan, this isn't about producing a film, it's about repositioning herself. She knows Diana's image carries eternal weight, and by holding the pen, she becomes part of that legacy. Of course, to William, that calculation feels cold. To him, it looks less like a tribute and more like a takeover. But to Meghan, it's survival in an industry that doesn't wait for second chances. Royal gossip paints a picture of William finally snapping behind closed doors. Sources claim he has already confronted Meghan directly, demanding to know why she's inserting herself into his mother's story. Some describe the exchange as fiery, with William's frustration boiling over. Others say it was colder, measured words, clipped tone, but laced with unmistakable anger. Either way, the fact that such a confrontation even happened signals William has reached his limit. For years, he's tried to keep disagreements with Harry and Meghan away from the public spotlight, but this touches Diana, and that's the one line he refuses to let anyone cross. Those who know William well say he doesn't explode often, but when he does, it's decisive. And that's why insiders believe this private clash marks a turning point. William is no longer content to be the silent observer. He's ready to assert himself, even if it means escalating tensions in ways the palace usually tries to avoid. This isn't just sibling rivalry anymore. This is William drawing a boundary around his mother's legacy, and Meghan testing how far she can push before the crown pushes back. The word among Hollywood strategists is Meghan may press forward regardless, betting William won't dare spark a full public war. But I think he's closer to exploding than people realize. If Meghan unveils a teaser or trailer, expect a palace counterpunch within hours. Here's what I think is coming. William will push for his own sanctioned Diana tribute, one drenched in palace approval and family authority. Meghan will push her own vision through Netflix, banking on public sympathy. And 2027? That won't just be an anniversary. It'll be the year Diana's memory splits into two competing legacies, each claiming to be the real story.